it's nice to get like genuine Honda parts, but it gets expensive once you start to you know, get all trade or try to locate all the parts, try to find them on the internet. You know, this one looks like it's a new old stock. Looks like maybe a little bit older on the logo, and this one that looks a little bit newer packaging. By the way, these are part numbers. This one is for the seal, and the bottom one is for the bearing. Brand new NTN bearing, made in Japan. Wow, it just drops in there. I don't have to punch it in. Well, now it's at an angle, but yeah. Okay, well that's easy. Moving to the next part. And it does. On this engine, everything comes out easy. But this is the seal that I was talking about. The right way to do it is to punch it from the outside to the inside, and it will come out. This is the seal, the old seal. Unfortunately, you have to split the case to replace it. There's not a whole lot of surface area here for like a normal seal. Look how little space you have. It's practically nothing. So it's really narrow. So I guess that's why they use that seal. Gotta be very careful here not to dig into aluminum. Maybe some brake cleaner will kind of that seems to be working. So I guess brake cleaner and this little green Brillo pad is better than a razor because it cleaned it up really nicely. Just put a little bit of oil. Rubber generally likes oil. And this one seems to be like a new old stock. So it's a little bit thirsty. Clean this up. The best angle for you. You can see. Will it just slide in? Little help from the socket. So we got a new oil seal in there. It's nice and fresh. Okay, here we go. Okay. So we are good to go. Ready for the assembly. So this manual is from the R version of the motorcycle. I couldn't find the 250L service manual. So I hope everything is pretty much the same. And I'm going to use this one for reference. This is the page that I need. you're supposed to match up these two gears like this. I'm sorry that you didn't actually see me putting this together. It took me a few tries to get it in there so it's lined up perfectly. But I guess if you do this, the main thing to watch out that the rod is facing up, because it's gonna get stuck, you know, on the walls of the engine case. And then once you assemble it, you know, you will see if you do it wrong, because this will probably hit the crankshaft, the balancer. But it's supposed to look like this, basically. Here we go, going in. I hate this part the most. Now we got the rest of the transmission. So all these little shift forks, they are, sorry, I just stepped on the camera stand. They all have letters on them, but most of the time they can only go one way, like because of the, I guess, the spacing here between the gears. But luckily, the Honda manual actually tells you which one goes where. So it's pretty easy. Basically clean it up so it's smooth, because it makes it easier when you slide it back in, and it makes it easier on the seal lips. You know, if you have, because this part sits outside. You know, there might be rocks or whatever that hits it and damages, so you're risking of damaging the seal. Now, I said that I might use silicone, but I think I'm going back to the idea of reusing the gasket. Just because I have one handy. I didn't have to buy one actually. So I'll clean up this bolt right here. So these bolts are 10 to 14 newton meters. I guess let's start with doing it 11. Let's go to 14 now. Sorry. Now forget about this last one right here. I was also missing, the stator cover. One arrived in the mail today. This one is for the R version, but I'm hoping it's the same. I mean, we can sort of try it out now. Okay, yeah, it works. I think. I'm not sure about this part right here. You know, obviously this bolt's on, but this is for probably the little cover for the sprocket in that little metal piece that protects the crankcase and this cover. I guess that's what this bolt is for that. Come on now, give it back. I'll continue with assembling the clutch cover. I have here a diagram or exploded view, what it's supposed to look like, to help me make sure I'm not forgetting anything. So I have a Kickstarter shaft here, and I'm gonna put it together. So there's a little notch right here, and this notch is supposed to line up with this notch right here. Spring. This notch right here lines up with this notch here. Like that. There's a washer. On the other side, spring seat. Return spring. And then this guy right here. And we got our tensioner. goes in there. Some Loctite on it. There we go. So I mentioned earlier that the clutch has these grooves here. I'm going to file them down a little bit. While we at it. piece goes in here. Just double check that I got everything in order. I don't usually, I see people cut out like, take a piece of cardboard and they make a drawing of whatever valve cover or whatever, or, you know, the clutch case or any part where they take out the bolts. But these bolts, most of the time they can only go one way. And once you do it a few times, you sort of know which one goes where, judging by how far they slide in. This is for decompression. So, as you remember, this came open when I got the engine, and one of the bolts was stripped. You can see right here, and I tried to extract it, but my drill bit slipped and I cut into the thread. So basically, I had to use the helicoil, which is, I'm not proud of this job. It's not my best. However, the good thing, it still all lines up, and I still don't have the stator. I only have the cover. I had to source it, but and I'm still missing a whole bunch of bolts. I might have a few of these Honda bolts that I have left over, but the good thing, this guy right here lines up and it threads in everybody. So you guys all saw me do the head, which is, the valves are done. But right now what I want to do is I want to resurface the area where the head gasket is going to be, right here and right here, because if the engine overheated, maybe it warped it a little bit. So that's one thing I want to do right now. Another thing I want to do, I don't have a gasket for this side, for where the cylinder is mating with the engine case, or the engine cases, and I just have like a generic gasket material, so I'll just cut out my own gasket. So that's what I'm gonna do now. I just borrowed this piece of glass from a coffee table from the living room. Hopefully my girlfriend He's not gonna be mad at me. So these are the results of me trying to resurface it. I cleaned it off with the brake cleaner. I also hit it a little bit more with the cylinder helm, so it looks a lot better. It's shiny because I coated it with oil so it wouldn't rust. So let's see about making this gasket. So this is Velcro gasket. It says for sealing oil, water, or gasoline. I think it should be fine for our purposes because it's just oil. It's way easier. It's way easier to order it online. It's probably a few dollars than making it, but I don't want to wait for it to arrive in mail, and I just want to assemble this engine. So it'll definitely work, but it took way too long to make. So here's the final product. So I got the piston for this bike. It's an aftermarket piston. Looks to be like a good quality. This is a standard size. And this is for XR250R. And it was marked 2004 to, 96 to 2004. But I did not see, well, it almost matches the old piston in size. It just, this one has these outlets out here, I guess, for the better oil circulation. I don't know, maybe cooling down. Maybe it's more lightweight. But it seems to be the same dimension as this 250L. So I'm going to try it out and see how it works out. Make sure that whatever is written is facing the top. There's little letters and number. Make sure that the opening of the piston rings face in the opposite directions. The same for the oil rings. That was too easy. Instead of making sure that they face in the opposite directions. So I need a third hand, third arm for this job. I used to coat the piston with oil, but I don't think it honestly makes any difference. Getting a little frustrated with this installation here. Oh, okay. So we are in it. We are in it. All Alright, I got the 4 bolts. This one was the really rusty bolt that you saw in the part 1 or part 2 of the video. I already put the washers in there. This guy can go in here. So the torque spec for these bolts are 37 to 43 Newton meters, which is quite a bit. Let's see. Okay, let's increase it to 43. I'll do maximum. That's good. That's good. Okay. All right. I want to turn it, see how far that piston goes up. Only got 1 bolt holding this stator cover. I cleaned. Ooh. I need to figure out a better tripod solution because I have a tripod sitting on a chair because it's too short. But I've cleaned. You know, I got this from eBay and I cleaned it up. Still missing the stator. Hopefully the valve's not gonna hit it, but it looks good. Sorry, you can't really see anything. Ow, keep hitting my finger. So I have a head gasket. It's slightly used, as you can see. Thinking about cleaning it up and coating it with the copper head gasket spray. It's already sort of coated in some sort of material, but I'm gonna clean it up and recoat it. That's what I have in the house right now, and that's what I'm gonna use. This is the head gasket that came on this engine, by the way. I'm gonna throw this out. So this is what I'm going to use, this Permatex copper spray, a gasket, high temp sealer. Let me wash my hands so they're not oily. So basically it looks like this. For some reason didn't take on too much on this side and this side, but I think it should be fine. Sorry I didn't record that part, but basically I just put on the head. I put on the lining dowels and just put on the head, and now I'm going to, and I fished out the cam chain, the head bolts. So these are the same torque specs as the cylinder, 37 to 43 Newton meters. We'll take out the spark plug and turn it by hand to make sure that the piston is not hitting the head. No, it seems fine. There's no obstruction. So I still got 4 bolts to tighten. Okay, so got the head on. Now I need to do the timing, and I need to push this tensioner in. Then I use vice grips to keep it in place like that. So I just went and rewatched the video for when I was disassembling this engine. It looks like the seal is facing this way. Basically, the open side faces on the inside on both sides, if that makes sense. Only our version is slightly different. One of the bearings has like a metal, I guess this little rubber piece, it's metal, and one side is completely open on both sides, I believe. Oh my god, come on, don't fall. Basically it goes in like this. Now I gotta slide the chain on the sprocket. I'll line the flywheel with the top dead center mark. As long as I can just slide this over, it's being kind of pain in the ass right now, I can start working on aligning it correctly. These slots right here, here we go. So the cam lobe's supposed to face down. Come on. That looks perfect. now we're going to release the tensioner. So the chain is snug. Come on. Stay up. So here on the flywheel you have two marks. You want the mark with a T face this little guy right here. Let me focus it. It's like a little triangle on it on the inside. So basically you want the T mark to be aligned with this. Basically like that. The piston should be at top dead center, and you can check with the screwdriver, tapping the top of the piston. Then you want this guy right here to be up, and you see it's kind of hard to see, it's a bit dark. You see a line here and a line here. Basically both of these lines supposed to be horizontally parallel to the head or the valve cover or valve cover gasket sealing surface. So basically that's how you time. I think you probably time most of these what do you call them, Honda RFVC engines. And I'm just doing this from memory. I've done this a few times. So like I said, the timing T or top dead center is supposed to match this little guy on the inside. Piston top dead center. Cam lobes facing down. And these two lines are parallel to this surface. And don't forget these pins right here. Basically, that's it. So I still had to clean up the valve cover and these rocker arms, and I'm gonna lubricate them as well. There's a little bit of rust here and a little bit of rust here, which it will wear out eventually. Smooth out, once the engine is running, but I'll help it a little bit. On. Goes here. Goes here. So now I got an oil line to hook up. Goes in like this. Alright guys, well, this will be it for this episode. I got it all assembled. I found 2 bolts in my bolt stash that they didn't come from this engine, but it seemed to be perfect length thread pitch, and they were both 8mm, probably from another Honda by the looks of it. So I put them there. I found a few bolts for the stator cover. They're all kind of different lengths, but they seem to be holding it well. I'm still missing 2 here, and I'm still missing 2 here that I have to source. I'm still missing the oil banjo bolt, and I'm missing the intake, like rubber boot. What else? Yeah, and I guess most importantly, I'm missing a stator. You can see it's just a empty space here where the wire is supposed to come out. Put on the sprocket. This is the sprocket that came on the bike. It's 12 tooth, and it still looks good. Doesn't look like it's worn out much. Oh yeah. But yeah, I still need to figure out this strip bolt right here. I may fix it or I may not fix it. I'm not making any promises, guys, but you know, in the future I might put it in my existing XR250. But in order for me to do that, I have to take out the engine that's already in it, you know, which is a huge pain in the ass to do it with a top end, kind of get it in the frame. So I may or may not do that. I'm not making any promises. I know this is kind of anticlimactic. You know, I assembled this engine, but you're not going to see it run. I might do it in the future. I'm not making any promises. I'm also missing 2 studs for the exhaust, so I have to source those 2. I put the spark plug back in there, so no dust or moisture falls in there. I haven't tested the compression. Also, I've tried to fit on my Kickstarter lever from XR250R, and apparently it's a different size. This one is a lot more fatter, so it just, another thing I guess that I had to source from eBay if I want this engine, you know, to test it if it runs or not. I also need to adjust the valves. I didn't adjust the valves. I poured quite a bit of oil through the head, and hopefully it will leak down and lubricate. It's probably just a little bit of the bottom here. Just so there's some oil on the inside while it's sitting around. I don't want anything to rust. And you know, I put it through the top, so it filled in here. So hopefully it lubricated the rocker arms and the cam bearings, and these guys quite loose. I still, you know, I'm not tightening them up because I still need to adjust the valve leash. But I just wanted to show you the engine, how it's assembled. You know, this is not my best job that I've done, because, and especially towards the end, I sort of rushed it because I wanted to get it done. But for a junk engine that could have been just thrown out for recycling or parted out, I don't think I did it too bad of a job. I think it came out pretty nice. So I'm also missing the oil filter, so there's nothing there. I just put this cap on in case I have to lean it over, and I don't want no oil to leak out. But just wanted to show you. You can see my handmade or custom-made gasket sitting here, but all the bolt lines lined up. So I'm like 99.9% sure, you know, it will cover, or it won't allow any oil to leak out, and you know, it covers the whole surface area. So I'm pretty confident it'll be fine. And you can see the head gasket, like the little bit of copper came out, which is fine. So yeah, this is pretty much the assembled engine. And don't look at my bench because it's a mess right now. I use it just to store a bunch of crap on it. Well, I appreciate you guys sticking around with me, working on these little weird projects. I hope you enjoy them, and I guess be on the lookout for more videos in the future. like I said, I don't know when I'm going to put it in my Honda XR, if I will do it at all. I want to, but I don't know if I'll have that time to do it. And yeah, I guess that's all I wanted to say. So I hope you guys are having a great day, and thank you for watching again.